The power of patience. Riya Kapoor had always been told she was destined for greatness. Her teachers praised her intellect. Her parents proudly compared her to others. Even her friends often looked to her for direction. In a world moving faster each day, she learned to run ahead, never stop, and certainly never wait. She graduated from one of India's top engineering colleges at just 21, head filled with dreams of launching her own tech startup that would revolutionize healthcare in rural communities. Her plan was ambitious but simple. Use data analytics and AI to predict and prevent diseases in underserved areas. Within 6 months of graduation, Riya had burned through her savings, received rejections from 5 investors, and had a failed pilot project in Bihar. Every no she received cut deep. She had always succeeded before. Why was this time different? At 22, Riya was back home in Delhi, in the same childhood bedroom filled with medals and certificates, now mocking reminders of how far she had fallen. "I don't get it," she told her father one night. "I did everything right. I worked hard, built the prototype, even traveled to the field. Why is this not working?" Her father, Dr. Kapoor, a retired school principal, looked up from his newspaper. "Do you remember the mango tree in our backyard?" Riya frowned. "What does that have to do with anything?" He folded his paper and smiled gently. "We planted that when you were 6. Every day, you'd water it and check for fruit. When nothing grew after a few weeks, you nearly dug it out, remember?" She smiled faintly. "Yeah, you stopped me. Because you needed to understand something. Growth takes time. Mango trees don't bear fruit overnight. But if you keep watering, tending, and waiting, they will. That's patience." Riya rolled her eyes. "This is the startup world, not farming, Papa." "Startups need patience too," he said simply. "More than anything else." Discouraged, but unwilling to give up entirely, Riya decided to take a short break and visit her grandmother in Himachal Pradesh. The mountain air was cool, and life there moved at a pace that irritated her at first. There was no rush, no deadlines. Even a cup of tea took 10 minutes to make. Her grandmother Nani noticed her frustration. "Why are you always frowning, Beta?" "I feel like my life's on pause, Nani," she confessed. "I should be building my company, pitching investors, not sitting around." Nani sipped her chai and pointed to the terrace fields on the hillside. "Do you see those crops? We plant them in March and harvest in October. If we dig them up in May because we're impatient, we get nothing. That's farming, Nani. It's different." Nani chuckled. "Child, patience is not about farming. It's about faith. Faith that what you're doing will eventually bear fruit, even when you can't see the result yet." That evening, Riya walked down to the village center and sat with some children drawing on dusty slates. A little girl named Meera showed her a broken toy. "It doesn't work anymore," she said sadly. Riya took the toy and spent an hour fixing it with nothing but tape and an old screwdriver. When the toy buzzed back to life, Meera's eyes lit up. That moment, pure, simple joy sparked something in Riya. It wasn't about speed or scale, it was about impact. Back in Delhi, Riya stopped obsessing over grand investor pitches and media headlines. She decided to start small, just like she had in the village. She partnered with a local NGO working in the outskirts of Haryana. Instead of trying to roll out her entire tech platform, she began with one basic feature: tracking maternal health checkups via SMS alerts. The cost was minimal, and the feedback was instant. Over the next 6 months, over 300 women signed up. The tech worked, the NGO was thrilled, And most importantly, mothers were showing up for their checkups more regularly. The data spoke for itself. Still, Ria didn't rush to scale. She improved the system quietly, one bug at a time. When she finally pitched again, this time to a social impact investor, her story was different. It wasn't about a dream anymore. It was about real data, real impact, and the willingness to stay when things moved slowly. She got her first round of funding, Q50 lakhs. With funding secured, Ria hired a small team. Expansion to 3 other districts followed, but success didn't mean the struggle had ended. A major setback arrived in the form of a data privacy complaint. One NGO partner accused the app of leaking personal health data, which led to a temporary suspension of operations. For the first time in a year, Ria's system went dark. Her instinct was to fight. Blame the NGO, blame the system, blame the impatient world. But instead, she paused. She consulted legal experts. She implemented stronger data protection protocols. She apologized publicly and rebuilt trust. It took 4 months to return online. "Why didn't you just fight it in the media?" a friend asked. "Because rushing to defend myself wouldn't have fixed the root cause," she said. "I'd rather wait and do it right." It wasn't easy. During those months, some team members left. One investor pulled out. The pressure was immense, but patience kept her grounded. By the time Ria turned 26, her startup, now called Swasthya AI, was active in 11 districts, had a team of 35, and had reduced maternal mortality in pilot zones by 30%. Her model was being studied by global health agencies. She was invited to speak at conferences. Interviews followed. She finally saw her name in the headlines, but by then, she wasn't chasing them. When a journalist asked her what the turning point was, she smiled and said, "The turning point wasn't a moment, it was the time in between the moments. When I wanted to quit, but didn't. When I had no results, but kept working. When I listened instead of speaking. That's what patience is." Years later, at a national entrepreneurship conference, Ria was asked to give a keynote address. She opened her speech with a story. "When I was 6, I planted a mango tree with my father. I almost gave up on it because I didn't see any fruit, but he stopped me. That tree now stands tall in our backyard. It took years to grow, but every summer now, it gives us fruit sweet, abundant, and worth the wait." She looked out at the crowd. Patience isn't passivity. It's strength under restraint. It's choosing to believe when everything says quit. It's choosing to grow slowly but surely. The audience stood in applause, not because she was successful, but because she had endured. Ria never forgot where she started. She launched a mentorship program for young female entrepreneurs from Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. She emphasized one principle above all: move fast when you must, but never confuse speed with progress. Learn to wait, learn to listen, learn to trust the process. One of her mentees, a young woman named Tara, would later face her own startup crisis. She wrote to Ria, panicking that she was failing. Ria's reply was short: water the roots. Fruit comes later. 10 years after her first failure in Bihar, Ria returned to the same village where her pilot project had flopped. This time, her systems were working in every health center there. Mothers recognized her. Children she had once met as infants now ran to her with laughter. She stood under a mango tree someone had planted there years ago. It wasn't hers, but its shade comforted her all the same, because she understood now. Patience is not waiting for something to happen. It's believing that something meaningful is growing, even when you can't see it yet.